Hi, everybody. Welcome to the feed today. I am one of the hosts here at the feed, and my name is Lisa Lopez Griggs. And today we have an exciting show for you, but wanted to just thank our producer that's going to come and join us today as well, Michael Hall, that's there in the background. I'm sure wants to be involved in this very important conversation that we are about to have. Michael, are you excited about this conversation today? I am. I'm
So
very
very
excited.
I am pumped up. I am excited to talk to kids. Yes, yes.
Yeah, this is going to be a great day. I think today, one of the things that kind of blew me away about this is I haven't done a lot of studies. We've talked about the cannabinoid system a little bit with regard to epilepsy. Had some different people on. We've had Jinx on actually that's talked about it. He uses, marijuana for medicinal purposes, but I think there's a lot of myth, and a lot of confusion around the difference between CBD, THC, hemp, and there's even medications actually that are CBD, driven that have been approved by the FDA with a lot of results, which was kind of mind blowing to me. And I thought maybe what I could do is read a few of these statistics before we bring our guest on, because I think this is a real subject that needs to be talked about much more. And we need to have more conversation around it so that people can really see themselves in it, not just from the caretaker standpoint, but also from the epileptic standpoint. What are your thoughts around that?
I agree. I absolutely agree. It's heartbreaking almost that there's such a stigma around certain medication that is not only non-addictive and not only much less harmful to your body, the
Mhm.
side effects than a lot of medications that you can be prescribed, but that legitimately help folks, all natural. Um, And man, the heart to be willing to take that journey on is something that's what I'm excited to find out, with Chris is it's not an easy journey. And that's the issue is that we need folks like him who make the decision, yes, I could be successful in a number of fields,
Mhm,
you know,
mhm,
helping a number of people, but I choose this because this is where I'm most needed. It's kind of a mission or a calling, if you will. And
mhm,
that is huge to me. And what I'm, most excited about is to learn a little bit more about that motivation, that desire to help folks. And then of course to find out some of those stories about how he's helped. And then of course, ultimately what we do this all for is to help our folks, cases of epilepsy folks, the feed folks that are caretaking, because I feel like what he represents and what he can bring to us can help
mhm,
us all in many ways. While it's mainly specifically on this show for epileptics and us
mhm,
dealing with that, I feel like as he goes and as y'all know, I know a little bit more. Spoiler alert.
mhm,
There's a lot of great products out there or a lot of great
mhm,
uses for the products he has that I think could very much help caretakers because caretakers go through a lot of common suffering as well. And if we
mhm.
can help them, we can help our folks, man. Amen. Amen.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of people too, they self-medicate. So they're trying to like figure out how to kind of navigate their epilepsy journey. And when they don't get solutions to just the pharma way of doing things, they start to kind of open themselves up to different ways of doing things naturally. But I love the conversation that we're going to have around today. I think it's important to mention to the audience today that 1 in 26 people in the United States are diagnosed with epilepsy. There's over 50 million epileptics worldwide, and roughly 30% of epilepsy patients continue having seizures while taking medication, which is why many families are exploring additional wellness options like CBD. Clinical trials, I thought this was an important statistic, involving CBD treatment for severe epilepsy syndrome showed that approximately 40 to 50% of patients experienced at least 50%, Michael, reduction in seizures. That is amazing. And then one major study, they said that people that were taking a cannabinoid a type of medication, 41.9% reduction in drop of seizures. Also, certain epilepsy patients reported reductions as high as 60 to 68% in certain groups using CBD therapies. That's huge. 7 out of 10 patients in one study achieved at least a 50% seizure reduction. So there is a real market here. Like there is a real market here for epileptics around CBD. And I'm wondering how that plays in to what our guest is going to talk about today. So we are getting ready, you guys, to bring on somebody that I got to meet very recently in Houston, Texas. And this guy is, I call him like the CFO because he is the Chief Fun Officer. Literally just being with him, and he comes in and he's they call him, he's like the cowboy, right? Because he's this rancher, but he's this serial entrepreneur, very successful, grew up in Idaho, but yet to look at him and see him around all these suits and ties and, women that are dressed in heels and business suits. And, he just owns his space, just the way that he shows up. And I don't even like talking about him in third party because I really want you guys to just meet this amazing gentleman, and I can just share all about him while we bring him on. But Chris Robinson right there in Idaho, Clifton, Ohio. How are you, sir?
I am doing amazing. And yourself? Thanks for the kind words. You should do that professionally.
Oh my gosh, Chris, I had the best time meeting you. And, you just make life so fun and so enjoyable. And I even remember you were like, Lisa, do you want to go drive across town with me? And I was so mad that I didn't take you up on that offer, because we ended up in the coolest piano bar in Houston, Texas. That was like so amazing. And what just a genuine and just beautiful soul you are. And then just to like, for people that, want to just look for you on Facebook, please, our audience, you need to go and follow Chris on Facebook, and you need to see what he does with ranching, because it's so amazing to see all these like, fillies and colts, and I'm still learning about all that. But I did get one right. I think there was 2 people you said got it right, and I got it right.
You was 1 or 2 out of hundreds that guessed it right. You didn't know.
I did guess right. And so you do all these amazing things. But for those of our community that are not familiar with who you are and what you do there in Idaho, before we get into this whole conversation around THC and CBD and hemp and glutathione and everything, tell us a little bit about yourself, like, just the way you grew up there in Idaho, because it's pretty outstanding. You're on hundreds of acres, I understand.
Yeah, it's I call it God's country out here for sure. I was born here in Southeast Idaho, raised by one of what you would call the last of the dying breed of the old school cowboys. Raised by the cowboy code. If you say you're going to do it, you do it. You ride for the brand. If you're in something, you're 100% loyal, no matter what happens. And most importantly, what I was taught by being raised by an old school cowboy which served me well long term, was like how to treat ladies, how you treat women, how you treat daughters and wives. And thank God I learned all of that, because fast forward, that's my brother right there. That's on the ranch there. Fast forward, 18 years, when I was 18 years old, that's the ranch there. Yeah. 18 years old, I ended up getting married. The doctor recommended that happen. And so my wife at the time was 17. I was 18. We knew each other like 5 months and we're married. It was one of those things that doesn't work out. The odds are all stacked against you. And I can say, sitting right here, right now, we just celebrated 25 years in January.
That's awesome.
So God knew what he was doing when he said, Chris Robinson, you're marrying this girl and I'm going to make you do it because I got a great one. And we also ended up, with 4 daughters, no sons, 4 daughters. So I've spent 24 years now in the estrogen ocean, just paddling for all I'm worth to try to stay afloat. And now we've actually been blessed with 2 granddaughters. And
Wow.
we just got a grandson. I got one. He just turned a year old this last month. And funny enough, tomorrow, 6 o'clock right here at the ranch is another Robinson gender reveal. So we're hoping when we slide that horse through the dirt, blue smoke comes out. That's what we're hoping.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh.
I definitely love the girls for sure. I always tell people, after raising 4 daughters, my youngest is now 15. All the others are grown and married. And
I saw that. She just had a birthday. Yep.
Yeah. And I tell them all the time that there's not enough money on earth for me to give up one of my daughters, but I'll tell you, I would not give a dime for one more. So we're pretty set up here for sure.
Oh my gosh. This is like, I look at the pictures that Mike, our producer, just put up, and he's going to come on the show in a minute, but this looks like a modern day Yellowstone. You know how people are just so enthralled and addicted and obsessed with this Yellowstone show.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it looks like. This looks like real Yellowstone. Is that what this is?
Well, Yellowstone, for the record, is just right over there.
Oh my gosh.
From where I'm sitting. And yeah, a lot of people tell me that I could be a rip, but we don't have a train station. We try to avoid that part of it, but there's a lot of it that's accurate when it comes to raising cattle and horses and raising families and all. Years of the benefit over all years of living on a ranch and raising families on a ranch is the quality of children, not that I produce, that the ranch produces, that animals produce, that just having that work ethic. And I mean, there's really no better way to teach a child responsibility than to give it something with a heartbeat that they have to succeed or the heart stops. You get them raising bottle calves and baby horses and things that they got to be responsible for. And it really, really does turn out good human beings for sure.
Wow, that's amazing. How many people are there in your town?
It's like 247, I think. If somebody moves, we lose like 10%. If somebody moves in, we get another few percent. But it's usually between 270 and 300 usually.
So for those that are listening in, because you are a serial entrepreneur, you've done so many great things in your life, raising a family, you've had so much success. Just in that little 5-10 minutes, you shared so many nuggets there. If people are saying, well, how did you do this from such a small town of less than 250 people? What would you say to them if they're listening in today and they're an epileptic, but they're a creative artist, or,
Sure.
They want to build something from home. People that have epilepsy, a lot of times they can't drive. There's a stigma around it. They can't join the military. Some of them have to give up their dream jobs. What would you say to them today, knowing that you came from such a small town, but yet you've had tremendous success and that hasn't stopped you?
Well, I'll tell you, 90% of my success comes from I was afforded a very good mentor. See, when I was 19 and a half, I was running a metal fab shop, making like $12 an hour. Wasn't, and I was working 12 hours a day, and there wasn't even a comma in my paycheck. I'm like $800-900 every couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. And I was at work during one of my daughter's birthday parties. She was turning 2. And I just walked over and punched the time clock and said, I'll never, ever touch one of those again. And I just left and went to my daughter's birthday party. And the next day I started a construction company called Chris Robinson Construction, which is still operating today. Mm-hmm. And I got a real estate mentor. His name was Jerry at the time. And I was kind of getting overwhelmed. And I said, man, I can't do all this by myself. Mm-hmm. He says, we need to learn leverage. You need to learn how to leverage people, but more importantly, you need to learn to do what you're best at and hire out the rest.
Mhm.
That sentence right there, I put into motion at 19 years old, and I wake up every morning today, and I still go off of that. So, for example, if you suffer from epilepsy
Mhm.
and you want to own a construction company or whatever, you don't
Mhm.
have to be the one pounding the nails. You can be the one lining up subcontractors on a cell phone. You can be the one talking to the customers. You can do all sorts of things, and that's just in the construction world. So, the best advice I could give somebody is pay attention to your circle, the circle of people that's around you. Your network is really your net worth,
Mhm.
and I've proven this time and time again. I've done a lot of trainings and stuff on entrepreneurship in the past,
Mhm.
and if you actually take the 5 people that you spend the most time with and you add all their incomes together and you divide it by 5, that's how much money you make. And it's true. Think about that. Think about the people you spend the 5 people you spend the most time with. So a lot of times it's just elevating your circle of people and getting into different types of rooms.
Yeah. What do you think is the quickest way for people to do that? I mean, obviously, like, people can meet you, they can follow you, they can go right to your Facebook, right? Is there other places they can? I mean, I know you're very active on Facebook. I mean, you're always posting, reels and different things that you're doing on the ranch. I see different communities you're in. Is that pretty much the best place if people wanted to get mentored by you? Would they just follow you on Facebook?
Yeah, or follow on Facebook, shoot a message. I mean, I literally mentor tens of thousands of people right now. And one of the businesses that I run is basically financial, learning how to become financially set, but understand. One thing about freedom or financial freedom is if it was easy, everybody would do it.
Hmm.
Everybody would be there. It is not easy. It does take time. There's no quick antidote or pill to getting there.
Hmm.
But I will tell you this, the more you learn how to care about people and coming up with solutions for problems, the more money you make. That was the second biggest thing that same mentor told me is, Chris, if you the bigger problem you can find a solution for that helps the most people, you will automatically win. The more you help people get what they want, you will be default have everything that you could ever dream of. And it was so true. Looking back, that was 23 years ago, I was told that. And it's been so true the entire time through my whole entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. Do you think people put too much focus on the money, versus putting focus, I guess, on the purpose, or the love?
100%. If your focus is money, you're going to fall short every time. But if your focus is purpose and you keep it that way, you'll reach your goals way more often than if it's about a dollar. Money just comes if you're doing the correct things and your heart and your mind's in the right place on when you're doing any sort of business.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So, how did you end up in, the space of business coming out of construction, having this ranch? Like, kind of take us through the process of how did you get to where you're at today with regard to like construction and then cattle ranching and now being in the hemp industry? Like, how did that come into
That's
place?
a crazy story. So, when I was about 24 years old, I had a large construction company. We had about 50 to 60 employees. Of course, I had dump trucks and excavators and skid loaders and equipment. And then I was also running about 18 over the road semis, delivering produce and commodities to the lower 48 states. And I'm kind of get taken back right now because at that time, my fuel bill is around $100,000 a month to keep everything running, and fuel doubled. Remember 2008, fuel doubled just like it did, and now I'm a 24-year-old kid, and I just got another $100,000 a month bill that I didn't see coming. So I'm like freaking out, and I was actually looking for an answer to save money on fuel and of course I'd tried. My dad was also an over-the-road truck driver. We tried every magic lotion, potion, whatever you could put in fuel to save, and none of it ever worked. And I just happened to, a buddy of mine offered me some, and it worked, and I didn't believe it, so I gave it to friends, and friends are saying it worked, and so then I've become affiliated with that company. and ended up selling $100 million worth of fuel treatment.
What?
By default. Yeah, I was able to.
You on your own?
Yeah, and it was I got paid straight commission, and we
Okay,
sold a bunch.
I want to
of
make sure the audience just heard that. Okay, everyone, he said $100 million in fuel treatments. And now the next question is, okay, where do we buy it today, right?
Actually, you can buy it on fuelfactorx.com. We're still use it. It's still promoted. It's for sale, right? I mean, $6 fuel. It's a big thing right now. But the way that business was structured, everything I'd been taught about being an entrepreneur, leverage, mentorship,
right,
being coachable, everything, that business was set up that way. So I learned the affiliate marketing model and how powerful it can be for not just yourself, but for all those around you. So that was 2007 or 7. Fast forward to 2014, a good friend of mine was launching his own health and wellness, and I hadn't really been health and wellness a lot at the time. I mean, we eat our own beef, we drink water out of the springs. We don't have all the stuff a lot of people get, right? So I was never really worried about it. Of course, I was young, but he offered me to team up with him and launch this massive global company. And we started with some like vitamin nutritional oral sprays. They did pretty well, but where we really hit a home run is in 2017, CBD and cannabis was becoming more mainstream. People, all the talking heads are talking about it. Social media is going berserk, but you really couldn't get it anywhere. So we added a line into our company. A lot of people probably heard of it. It was called Hempworks. It's still called Hempworks. Mm-hmm. We launched that into that company in 2017, and we ended up selling $500 million worth of CBD oil. And what we learned,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was just, but it was still a gray area.
This is not small potatoes, pun intended. I mean, this is like, oh, by the way, we just did, 100 million in sales, and then we did $500 million in sales. This is crazy.
But it was crazy, and it was like surreal, because what it ended up being is it wasn't even really sales, it was education.
Right.
Because like you talked about earlier, there's this stigma if I touch anything to do with hemp or marijuana or whatever. Mm-hmm. And by the way, in the household I grew up in, this is taboo. You don't touch this stuff. So when we decided to launch this in 2017, I don't think my mom and dad's ever going to talk to me again. So we're selling, hundreds of millions of dollars of this stuff, and I'm still telling my parents I'm selling fuel treatment.
Oh my gosh.
But the more,
next thing you know, Chris is a millionaire.
Yeah, pretty soon, the product performed. Thank goodness, when we launched with the purest form of CBD oil you could find anywhere in the world.
Wow.
And it's still the same product that we use and promote today. But it was kind of crazy because going through that journey, 2017 we launched. It's still not legal everywhere. Mm-hmm. Of course, the Farm Bill never passed until 2019. Mm-hmm. And that was Christmas Eve. So the end of 2019 is when hemp was removed off the DA list. Everybody's going, whoa, there's something to this magic medicine that people need it. And so 2017, we take off. It starts going really well. 2018, even more. 2019, we decide to do an educational tour around the United States of America. We called it the Hempworks Roadshows. Okay. So we did, I believe, around 30 just on weekends from February to September of 2019. So I would fly into a different city. We'd do a presentation. We'd show people the benefits. A lot of people that were already on our products were coming to these to get more education on what the products can do, how to take them, etc. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because every weekend we'd show up to a room. There'd be 1,000 to 5,000 people in that room.
Wow.
Never really promoted it out other than just on our email list, right? Hey, we're going to be in Milwaukee Saturday. We're going to be in Dallas on Saturday. We're going to be in whatever we were doing. And there was so much success in that product that people were literally stumbling over themselves to get it.
Wow.
And it was insane. And where we're at now with the CBD though, and this is super important, is 2019, the Farm Bill passes. So now anybody that wants to can put stuff in a bottle and put CBD hemp oil on it and sell it. It showed up in gas stations. It showed up at Walgreens. It shows up everywhere. But what people don't understand is it's still the wild, wild west.
Okay.
90% of stuff out there, what's on the label is not what's in the bottle.
Right.
So if you've been out there and you're like, man, I've tried CBD and I didn't see much results, it's because you bought junk. And the reason we've been so successful is because I understand you can only sell junk one time.
Right.
We've always made sure we have the utmost, best, purest ingredients we can have. So it was just a crazy, crazy journey. And it still is. We're still in the middle of it right now.
Yeah.
It's been fun. So that's what got me from farming, ranching, construction into sales. And then also, but what I fell in love with the most, even though we did make millions and we do make millions and millions of dollars, but I didn't fall in love with the money part. I fell in love with the results. Like go back, I was talking about these shows and that we did. And, you know, we're talking about epilepsy here and you're doing a tremendous thing for the community, by the way, Lisa.
Thank you, Chris. And thank you so much for your support.
What you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I had no idea that 1 in 20. Did you say 1 in 26 people?
Yeah, it's 1 in 26. And then also the other statistic is 1 out of 1,000 epileptics pass away of sudden death in epilepsy. So it's a very, very high statistic. And, you know, comparable to, let's say, diabetes, where diabetes, a lot of people do pass away of diabetes, but it's not as many people, right? Comparable to, like, I'm saying, per amount of people. So it's a very high statistic. And we don't even know if those numbers are accurate because the coroners don't always know to put SUDEP on the death certificates, because a lot of people will pass away of a seizure, but they're not diagnosed as an epileptic. So if they come in and they've passed away of epilepsy, then granted, they might have it on their death certificate. So there's still, the numbers are very high. And yeah, there's over 3.4 million epileptics just here in the US, but not a lot of funding either. So because there's only about $200 million in funding for that community, maybe a little over 200 million in funding a year, whereas comparable, Chris, you're looking at 4 billion for Alzheimer's and dementia, and that community is not any much larger. It's about the same size.
It's crazy that everybody knows so much about diabetics and nothing about epilepsy when the numbers are even higher. That's
Yeah, there's a real stigma around it, and people like you can really help us to educate and bring that awareness. I think one of the huge things that came up for me while you were talking about this is just this endeavor to take even Hempworks on the road, and that product, and the benefits of that, and doing this road show around Hempworks for even epileptics, because I don't think a lot of epileptics even realize the power behind Hempworks and CBD and the oil that you guys have, which my question, I guess, is what is the retention rate on that? When you have a product like that, people get on it, they must stay on it for a long time.
We have thousands of customers that's been on it for 10 years, every month.
Every month, yeah. So the retention rate must be very, very high for people that get on it.
Yeah, well, we have a very loyal and we've actually taken it international now. We sell it in Europe, Africa, everywhere that we could that has legalized cannabis in some sort of fashion. But I want to kind of back up just a minute, because you're giving these, and it just clicked in my head, you're giving these statistics about how not rare epilepsy really is. And it really makes sense, because during that, of course, we were going to go into 2020 and keep the educational shows going and everything. But then COVID hit and you couldn't even get in a room with anybody. So, but during 2019, my favorite part, these were like 4 and 5 hour events on a Saturday. And my favorite part of the event was always we would ask people in the audience, 5 to 10 people, to come up and share their testimonial or their story about using our products. And I think almost every weekend there was somebody that came up that talked about epilepsy, whether it was help themselves or it helped somebody in their family, their kids, and I'm saying, talking crying tears, real. And I didn't know the people. I flew in there the night before. I didn't get to meet anybody, and we did it. We started a show at 9 on Saturday, and all the time there was a lot of people talking about epileptics. And here's another crazy fact: we also have a pet oil. And I would say more people buy it for seizures in their pets than any other reason. I can show you Facebook messages. Chris, I need overnight some. I ran out. My dog's having. How do I get it faster? Like, it happens quite a bit. And so there's definitely, I'm no doctor, but I know what I've seen and I know what I've heard from people that are third party people. And like I said, you can only sell junk one time. But when you get those types of testimonials, it's just crazy. So there's definitely a big link there.
Yeah. There's even FDA pharmaceutical drugs with a CBD component that have been approved for epilepsy. And they're saying that many of the people that take it, they actually see a big reduction, more than 68%, 50 to 68% reduction in their seizures. So it's a very, very big deal. So I'm not surprised to hear that. Where do you think the hemp industry is going now? Do you think this is going to increase? And why are you not growing it? You've got hundreds of acres. I'm like, why is he not growing hemp?
So there's a couple of reasons for that. One, I'll just say it right out loud: Idaho needs a new governor. That's the biggest reason.
So there's still a lot of legislation.
Not really. Idaho's actually passed it twice, and then it's been vetoed twice.
Okay.
So we're just a little bit behind. Real conservative state. Which is, there's good and bad that goes with either way. Right. But it's just that's why it stopped here. And really, for it to be real profitable, we got to get to where hemp's being used more in textiles.
Yes.
Like, for example, you can make this shirt out of hemp fibers.
Right.
But
of course.
Hanes and Fruit of the Loom and all these big factories aren't set up for it. So what do you do with the byproduct? There's a million reasons why hemp could be super, super good, but it's just not in. Is it coming? I know I believe it's coming. Definitely. In our lifetimes. We'll see a bunch more.
Yeah. Do you think that people should be investing? I'm sure. I know Michael runs some shows on investing. Do you think that? And he'll appreciate this question. Do you think people should be investing in hemp on the stock market and different things?
It all depends on the company, because there's some companies that can make it work, but most fail. But that's really that way with anything in life.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Mike, I want to bring you into this conversation. Chris and I've been having, because, you are an epileptic. You do use, medicinal marijuana, which is obviously a little different than and I hope that was okay to say. We've talked about it with Jinx. I think you've talked about it on the show before. My son was also using medicinal, marijuana for his seizures and also for his sleep. But I'm sure you have questions for Chris, because this has been an amazing conversation so far.
Well, yeah, and let me start out by saying, like anything else, literally, you can get sick from drinking too much milk. Yeah. You can get sick from eating too many vegetables and not balancing the diet. So for those that, have some kind of maybe preconceived notions when it comes to cannabis, THC therapy, completely understand. And I promise you, there are so many more drugs that either you might be on or the doctor has prescribed you in the past, that if you OD'd on those drugs or did not take those as directed, you'd be dead. I know you took them properly because you're still here. So like with anything else in the world, what's right for you is right for you, and I recommend that you talk to the people you trust the most with your health care.
Mhm.
And I want to just preface by saying that, just get a lot of that out of the way, right? Um, and yes, that being said, absolutely cannabis has helped me. And even more so THC because or excuse me, CBD. CBD. Because something we don't talk about is while it is great and the euphoric feelings and the high feelings you get from good THC that is medically useful for you, uh, for me and a lot of folks I talk to, it's not what you want to do first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
You want to have your coffee. You would like something to help your condition specifically and especially if it's all natural and good for you. But then you want to get about your day without maybe the effects of feeling high. If I can just be honest.
Mhm.
Yeah, and I just want to piggyback on that, Mike. CBD, for those that are completely
Yeah.
unaware, CBD does not get you high; it gets you
Right.
healthy.
Uh-huh.
There's actually broad spectrum CBD, which has zero THC. You can be in the military, you can be a driver, you can pass drug tests, zero THC. That's called the broad spectrum. Then there's also a full spectrum, which gives you the entire entourage of the cannabis plants. And 0.03% THC is the federal level, and our full spectrum products are below that. So you can drink a whole bottle of it and not even get a buzz, right? And you talk about side effects and things. We always used to make a joke that more people were gored to death by a unicorn last year than had any negative side effects to CBD, because it's really just a plant that comes, and when you extract the oil out of it and compress it with hemp seed oil and you give it a sublingual delivery system so it absorbs into your body, it does incredible things with zero psychoactive side effects.
Huge. Yeah, I compare the like 0.03 stuff to an O'Doul's. Folks, it's like,
Yeah,
for people who know about
yeah,
drinking,
near
I'm
beer.
8 years sober, but yeah, you can drink it and you're not gonna feel anything. It doesn't have enough of an effect to affect you psychoactively, but all of the natural benefits are there for you. So
Yep.
that's huge. And the cool thing about CBD that a lot of folks may not know if you want to get into a little bit is that to get the best CBD from the plant, you have to be very specific and intentional in how you're extracting that and
Mm.
pulling the absolute best of that plant.
Mhm.
And what a lot of folks may not know is to get the best CBD out of the plant, highest quality, it often costs a lot more than just harvesting straight up cannabis from that plant. And it's
It
because
is
you
a
are doing.
delicate process to do it correct.
And do you want to go maybe a little bit into your process, how you guys do that?
Yeah, well, we use CO2 extraction, and then our carrier oils 100% hemp seed oil. You'll see a lot of CBD oils with maybe MCT coconut oil, purified. Well, I've seen CBD that says purified water right on its label, and I'm like, why are you spending $40 for an ounce of purified water? It's just blows me again, and it's not that people are dumb. It's just that they haven't been educated on what you need third party testing. See,
Mhm.
hemp is notorious, and so is marijuana, for growing molds and stuff. You got to make sure there's no heavy metals, there's no molds, and like our all of our products, there's a QR code on it right here. You can scan that QR code. And there's third party testing of what is exactly in that bottle, and again, a big thing is organic. And organic's a big thing right now, and there's
Mhm.
literally only a few companies on earth with an organic certificate for CBD oil. We happen to be one of them.
Wow, that's a big deal. I wanted to, Mike, can I just jump in and ask one question real quick about this? Because I think that's very interesting to me. With the fact that you chose to do this product and get it out there, because you said you did $500 million in sales. You did do that direct to the consumer, or there's an opportunity, I think, here for our audience, right, to be affiliates to market this product into epileptics, correct?
Yeah. So way back when we started the company, before we even had Hempworks, 2014, we understand that the best most powerful form of marketing is word of mouth. So rather than buying Super Bowl ads and billboards and commercials, we just decide to empower the people. Because I know one thing for certain, Lisa, if when a product has an effect on you, you want to tell people about it.
Mm-hmm.
If you see a good movie, you want to tell people about it. If you take a weight loss product and you lose weight, you want to tell people about it. We decided to empower the people and just pay people to go share the good news rather than take out and deal with a whole marketing arm. So our marketing arm is 100% people. And yes, there's been several people that's become multimillionaires selling the Hempworks brand over the last decade as it's been rolled out.
So awesome. I love that. Mike, isn't that fabulous? I mean, I could see people in our community definitely aligning themselves, with this to be able to influence, others to purchase
I'll
it.
tell you and Chris, man, most of us, maybe we'd be excited about being multi-hundredaires. You know what I mean? 300, 400, 500. We're down. Let's go.
Well, and that's really what it's about. Is it's not about starting off with this big dream of being in the top 1%. But I'll tell you what happens when you help thousands of people pay their mortgage or their insurance bill or their car payment or a doctor bill, and just help a whole bunch of people earn $300 extra a month or $1,000. You help enough people do that, and then you're all of a sudden at that 1%. And so it's really about helping the average person succeed somewhat, and you'll see massive success in your own life.
And let me walk that back 2 steps, because something that's important is that's part of the two, and then let's plus the other two. And that is providing a product that genuinely helps the people you love live a better life, man. And if you told me you can be the richest of you can be Elon Musk level, you would have a fleet of private jets, or your epileptic brothers and sisters aren't going to have as many seizures. Their moms, their wives their daughters, their sons aren't going to look at them in that seizure mode and have that trauma. And even, hey, your mom who's in her 70s isn't going to feel so sore when she wakes up in the morning. That kind of thing is like, okay, you can have all that, but you don't get to be rich. You have to stay in your little condo, right? Or you get to be rich, but those people don't get help. Pretty much everyone I care about and work with to a T would happily trade the money. I've been blessed enough to be around a lot of money, and I can tell you most of those folks are shockingly unhappy. That's one of my favorite.
That's because they get on their private jets and they're by themselves.
Yeah. Jim Carrey says it. Yeah, he says it great. He says, I wish everybody could be rich and famous so they could understand how it doesn't make you happy. And it's so true. You feel bad for those folks, I think, a lot of times, that aren't connected to family and love and a true thing. And that's the one thing I want to say. Yes, it is great. And yes, we're going to take care of people with the resources that we are blessed with. But we're blessed with those resources because we are doing something good. I come from a world where a lot of people make a lot of money, maybe putting a lot of negative stuff out. Okay, let's just leave it at that. You can make a lot of money hurting your community, or that kind of thing. But to care about your community, and something you said earlier, you said when you're doing a good job and you're doing right and doing good, money comes. You don't have to worry about it. And that touched me, and that's true, man. Is that the goal isn't money, man. The goal is doing the best you can. And when you do that, you are valuable. And when you have value, it comes to you. It shows. So thank you.
Yeah, the real goal is just freedom, right? It's not billions of dollars. It's freedom to have a little extra time to spend with your family on the weekends, being able to help somebody that might be sick or whatever. But that's real. The goal is freedom. There's no dollar amount to freedom. It's whatever it is for each individual person.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that. Life is short. And I know, Chris, I had a great opportunity to be able to spend the last 4 years, of my son's life with him when he was diagnosed at 14 till he passed away at 18. And I lived off of the residual income that I made through relationship marketing, which is what you're talking about.
Right.
And just being able to help people and add value into their lives. And I'm so grateful that I got to do that. And now after this conversation today, I am like fired up. Like I want to talk to you more about this afterwards and see if there's a real vehicle here for epileptics, because they do need to work from home. It's hard for them to be able to get to jobs. They don't drive, a lot of them, and so they look for opportunities like this where they can really help others. And then of course the product sounds like Hempworks has the best product in the CBD space, comparable to other products, would you say?
Yeah, and we were the largest hemp company on earth for a couple of years, and we're still growing. I mean, there's CBD is kind of funny because you either have pure CBD or you have junk. Are there other companies with pure CBD out there? A couple.
Okay.
But do they offer it the way that we offer it and offer another vehicle, which is some financial gain? No. We are definitely at the top of the world for that.
Okay. And then you're available in a lot of countries. I think that was awesome. You did mention Africa, which I think is great because a lot of those countries, they don't even look at epilepsy the same way that we look at it here in the States. They do not have proper education around that. They still have a lot of stigma around it. They do not have medications even for epilepsy. They see it as some kind of demonic manifestation. And many times people with epilepsy are sequestered, from their own families, much like, different types of diseases. So I love that we can also market this into different countries.
Our two main ones right now are the US and Europe.
Okay. Awesome. Well, we're going to definitely get some handles up on this show so that people know where to get it purchased. And, if they want it today, they can purchase it. So we'll make sure that we get all those links in the chat for everybody. So if somebody wants to purchase it, they can. I think that they should. How long do you think people need to be on this to start to see results, Chris, with a product like this?
It's pretty fast, 30 days. But there's a lot of people that see results within just a couple of days, depending on, what the inside of their body's like, how their endocannabinoid system's been treated since they were born. Okay. It's a proven fact that there's CBD in mother's breast milk.
Okay.
Which thrives our endocannabinoid system. The only thing that has more receptors in the body is our nervous system. The endocannabinoid system has billions of receptors too. And if you haven't done anything with cannabis since you weren't on mother's breast milk, your endocannabinoid system's starved, and it could take a little time. So, but yeah, I've seen people with instant results, and I've seen people take a few weeks. So the fact of the matter is this: the product has a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you may as well try it and see what it does for you. Just like everybody else, and we have less than a 2% return rate over 10 years, 11 years. So it's a very effective product.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Mike's got some stuff up there too on the glutathione. I want to touch on that real quickly.
Okay.
I think we're going to do a part 2 as well, because there's just so much around all of this. But what are people looking at price wise? Can you give us a range for what they would be looking at monthly on the Hempworks?
Depending on what you buy, you're $50 to $70 for a whole month supply.
Okay, on the
very
oil.
Inexpensive, on the oil.
And then do they just take it once a day, or?
Yeah, it comes in a tincture like this.
Okay.
And inside it, I always tell people start with a half a dropper full, so that much. And you just put it under your tongue and don't swallow for 30 seconds. It'll soak in through your sublingual glands.
Oh, awesome. So it's sort of sublingual?
It's all sublingual. It all goes through your sublingual glands. And
wow.
That flavor's cinnamon. It tastes really good. We have peppermint, and then we also have natural.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. So that's great. Okay. Let's pull up that screen real quick on the glutathione.
This bottle lasts 30 days. Morning or night, you just take a half a dropper full like this. You simply put it under your tongue like that and don't swallow. It'll absorb through your sublingual glands in about 30 to 45 seconds, which gets into your bloodstream super fast. And you'll start to notice the the benefits. And if you look at the screener, we have, we have cinnamon, we have peppermint, we have natural flavor. We also have mushroom elixirs with CBD oil in them. We have a coffee. We have gummies for children. We also have topicals. We have a relief cream that is just incredible for you rub it on your arm or your elbow or your knee or something. It's super effective, super fast. So not only do we have it for people, we have it for pets, like I talked about, and then we have a CBD coffee. And that coffee, that coffee is incredible. It has a CBD in it. It's instant coffee, but it doesn't taste like it. Best instant coffee I've ever tried. Also has chaga mushrooms with it. So there's a ton of ways to get your CBD. But I will say these oral tinctures are the most effective, fastest way to take your CBD.
Okay, awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this. I think this is going to be great for those that are really looking into other options other than just pharmaceutical drugs, which don't always stop seizures. I think this could be really, really good for people. The other thing I wanted to ask about, you mentioned that CBD is in breast milk all the way from the beginning of when a baby is born. Does that play a part in the glutathione levels in the body? I know you're not a doctor, but I know you know so much about how hemp and CBD is helping the body. Is there a correlation there between the glutathione piece?
So there's not necessarily a correlation between what, your endocannabinoid system and your glutathione levels.
Okay.
But the correlation is they're both some of the most important health factors in overall general health. For example, like CBD really, I put it like calms the body. Your glutathione levels restores your body on a daily basis. Your glutathione is what really drives your immune system. There's glutathione in every single cell in our bodies, all 30 trillion of them, whether it's your eyelashes to your heart, to your organs, to your skin, whatever. And glutathione is your master antioxidant for your body. Everybody takes in, 500,000 toxins a day, whether it's from the air you breathe, the water you drink, the stress you're under, whatever. And your glutathione levels start to deplete. And they've learned that a lot of chronic diseases are linked to low glutathione levels, and healthy humans are linked to high glutathione levels. So addressing your endocannabinoid system as well as your glutathione levels is really, I'd call it a trifecta, but it's only two things. But it's a perfect storm of getting your body all back into sync and balanced of how it should be.
Yeah. Michael, this has been an incredible interview today. I'm saying Michael in the background because Chris, I'm wondering, I know we've went, Michael, almost the time of the show, but I don't know if we should keep going or not because I have so many questions about the glutathione piece. And I know that, Chris, you want to have your doctor friend come on and talk to us about glutathione, but is there anything else that epileptics should know about the glutathione piece with regard to seizures? Because I know that many epileptics do have low glutathione levels. And this is obviously something that you've become aware of now. And you've had so much success with kind of finding the right things to really help create these solutions for people. You think glutathione is the next piece of seizure control, let's say, for epileptics?
Here's what I know. I know that increased stress in the brain is what is a big link to seizures. And I also know low glutathione levels causes increased antioxidant or oxidative stress in the brain. Raising your glutathione levels gets rid of that. I've read up on some stuff preparing for the show this podcast that there are links between low glutathione levels and epilepsy. A lot of them. And so if you raise your glutathione levels, I'm not a doctor, but common sense and logic tells me that there is a correlation of what this product can do and how it will benefit people with epilepsy. I mean, we've done 200 clinical studies with the Immunocal product for anything from cancers and autoimmune issues and heart disease and blood pressure. And this Immunocal is actually the most documented product in the whole industry that we're in. And I mean, Harvard's done studies on it. And there are links to low glutathione and epilepsy problems for sure.
Yeah.
And there's also documentation that shows taking Immunocal will raise your glutathione levels 35%, clinically proven, 35% within 90 days.
Resident nerd here. I wanted to just inform people what a great source of information your website is. Let's go all the way back. That's Immunotech.com, and it will answer probably most, if not all, of the questions that anyone would have. And then going into it, you see how glutathione boosts energy recovery and stamina naturally. And then as we go down here, it talks about, of course, specifically mitochondrial support, which is important for epilepsy. We won't get all into that. But what you've done here on your website, shout out to your web designer, is they've actually published a study from PubMed talking about how important it is for your mental fatigue to have mitochondria or to have healthy mitochondria, excuse me, and how this product right here helping you with your glutathione, the Immunotech, excuse me, provides serious help and assistance for glutathione and mitochondrial support. Glutathione is critical for mitochondrial health. For those that don't know, and all my epileptic brothers and sisters, your brain is a whole bunch of mitochondrial material, or most of what makes up a huge part of it. So these structures are often called the central engines of your cells. Glutathione maintains their redox balance and shields them from oxidative stress. Oxidative stress, as my man was just saying, guys, our seizures are because our brain is under stress. Some of it absolutely is oxidative. When mitochondria are protected, hear me now, when mitochondria are protected, they produce energy more efficiently. That is proven. That helps you. That reduces the situations where seizures cook and happen. So I had to share that, guys. Forgive me. I'm probably for the rest of my life going to be an evangelist for anything that can help folks to deal with what I deal with. So thank you guys for that. I just wanted to show that.
One thing I want to point out, Mike, while you're on this exact thing, there are several glutathione supplements out there in the world, billion-dollar companies. Like if you go look at Gary Brecka, Dr. Mark Hyman, they're all talking about glutathione, and they're actually pushing glutathione supplements. Immunocal, which is the product that Immunotech has, is the world's only glutathione precursor with 80 patents. So it's the only thing proven to raise your glutathione levels in your body naturally to last a lifetime, rather than there's injections, there's patches, there's pills, there's lotions, there's potions, but there's nothing more effective. Activation beats supplementation any day of the week. Same principle with CBD. It's reactivating your endocannabinoid system, which actually helps keep all the inflammation out of your body. And it's been proven that disease doesn't really thrive without inflammation, which is where CBD has its big thing. But switching back to glutathione, there's no other product on earth other than Immunocal that's clinically proven with 80 patents backing it and 200 clinical studies showing that it raises your glutathione levels naturally.
That's huge. I mean, Mike and Chris, like this whole discussion around, I would love to see you gentlemen have a discussion with the doctor around the mitochondria and the glutathione levels in epilepsy and the brain from a neurological standpoint, maybe even get an ophthalmologist on here, and have a big powwow around that conversation. Cause I really do. I think there's something here with that piece alone And it's just a matter of getting the education out into our communities, Chris. You know, that's what it is.
That's the thing, is it's all education. And mark my words, Lisa, glutathione will be the biggest health trend of the next decade. CBD was the last one.
Mm-hmm.
Glutathione will be the next one, and it's already starting. Like you see a lot of people, and I'm telling you this: if you've never researched glutathione and you go start researching it, you will not be able to unsee, and you're going to be so mad of what you're learning that you didn't already know. Like, why is this not talked about in kindergarten? It's that important, and it just doesn't happen.
Gosh. Well, you know what? This has been an amazing show. I think we need to have a part 2. I knew we were going to do a part 2, you know, with regard to this whole piece on glutathione. So we need to have you back, and we need to have you back with the doctor, really breaking this down. And what we'll do is we'll get some questions from the community, and maybe we'll even do a live, Michael, maybe we could even do a live with the doctor, so that people can ask their questions as well.
Yeah,
and caretakers.
But my original pitch was to do at least a monthly with you, if not a weekly. But let's just have a monthly where you come on and update us, and folks can ask questions.
Look, I mean, I think you guys are doing a service that's been disservice since the beginning of time. And if I can assist you guys and help in any way for the cause that you guys are pushing for, then I'm in. Just let me know what I can do. Thank
you, Chris, so much for that. We appreciate you being on today. We love you, and you've been such a support to Faces of Epilepsy, this community, the F.E.E.D, everyone here, all of our our guests and those that are listening by audience today. We appreciate you, sir, and we cannot wait to have you back. Looking forward to it already. Thank you. Appreciate you having me on, guys. Bye. See you, everybody. Thank you, F.E.E.D audience.